Hi friends, welcome to my channel Literature Guide, and today's video is about farce and melodrama, the two important dramatic types in English literature. Farce and melodrama, they are associated with tragedy and comedy. The word farce is derived from Latin word farceur, that means stuffing. So it just flourished in the 18th and 19th century, but before that some playwrights and some writers employed this form. In the writings of Plautus, Aristophanes, and Menander, we find farcical elements. After that, some playwrights of the Elizabethan era employed this form in their works. For example, Shakespeare, he employed farcical elements in his comedies. The primary function of a farce is to satirize some evils prevalent in the society, and the same function is done by melodrama, but melodrama is associated with tragedy. That is very important difference between the two. Farce is related to comedy, whereas melodrama is associated with tragedies. Okay, and I think that this video will be helpful for you, and I am just thinking about making some videos on UGC's net and set exams, the paper of English and literary criticism. I want to make a few videos which will be important for the students who are just pursuing net and set exams, and I would like to discuss the paper structure, complete paper structure of net and set exams, and I have already cracked that exam in 2012, and I want to just guide students, and it needs a pinpoint study. Remember this thing: if you just go astray and just study all the books without taking into consideration the seriousness of that exam, it will take a lot of time. Okay, and if you want to crack the exam without wasting your time, you need to follow my guidelines. You just do that and you will get sudden results. Okay, believe me, I have done that thing in 2012, and I want to help you. Just keep watching my channel and tell me whether you really want videos on that topic or not. Thank you very much.
Farce and Melodrama. Farce is an exaggerated comedy which depends more on improbable and unusual situations than on characters and plot. The plot of farce is often complex and the events occur in quick succession. It can make people laugh from the bottom of their bellies. The playwright introduces absurd characters, funny dialogues and strange and confusing situation in farce. The repeated actions of characters and improbable situations surprise the spectators. Strange appearances and gradual unfolding of incidents bewilder them. Intrigues, elopements, disguise, role of the supernatural and use of charm are also found in farce. The playwright draws great effect by combining all these elements craftily into it. The term farce is derived from the Latin word farcire, which means to stuff. So, some comic characters and incidents are stuffed into the plot of the story which evokes laughter. The writer who writes farces is called farceur. The readers can find farcical elements in the literature of Plautus, Menander, and Aristophanes. The oldest examples of farce are The Boy and the Blind Man and the Farce of Master, which are written French. The origin of farce can be found in the medieval miracle or religious plays like Noah and Second Shepherd's Play, but their authorship is not known. This dramatic form has gone through some transformation with the passage of time. The comic interludes of 15th and 16th centuries were stuffed or inserted into the main plot in order to create laughter. John Hayward produced some fine interludes like the 4pp, the Play of the Weather, and a Play of Love, which contain farcical elements. In the works of pre-Shakespearean dramatists, the readers can find influence of John Hayward's interludes in their plays. The dramatists inserted farcical episodes in their plays. Robert Greene's Friar Bacon and Friar Bungay is a famous play with farcical elements. It was performed in 1594. Ben Jonson's plays Volpone and The Alchemist were also pregnant with farcical notes. Ben Jonson's Bartholomew Fair is a fine example of farcical comedy. William Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream is stuffed with some farcical elements. The play revolves round the four characters Hermia, Lysander, Helena, and Demetrius. The two couples run away in a wood so that they can get united. The play abounds in comical incidents, involvement of fairies in the plot, use of charm, quarrels and reunion of the lovers at the end of the play. The play evokes laughter and ends on a happy note. Similarly, Shakespeare's The Merry Wives of Windsor is pregnant with intrigues, confusion, disguise, and funny incidents. All the confusion among the characters makes the readers laugh. Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew is a character farce. It deals with the taming of Caterina by Petruchio by insulting and indifference to her. It is to be noted that John Fletcher's The Woman's Prize stretches the same story further. In the play, Petruchio is tamed by his second wife after the death of Kate. However, the British dramatists adapted the classical form of farce of Molière. Farce is kind of a satire and caricature. Since it belongs to a world of nonsense, the characters are without any control. The themes of farces are generally a love affair, deception, and husbands always fleeing away from their garrulous and churlish wives. Finally, everything ends on a happy note. The independent existence of farce began when the rehearsal appeared on the stage. It was composed by George Villiers in 1672. It is a farcical comedy which satirizes the heroic tragedies. The play has absurd heroic plot and it is highly entertaining. Another fine example of farce is Aphraben's The Rover, which appeared in 2 parts. The Rover deals with the adventures of English cavaliers in Naples and Madrid during the exile of Charles II. The hero of The Rover is Wilmore. The character of Wilmore is modeled on Rochester. According to Virginia Woolf, Aphraben is the first English woman to earn her living by writing. Henry Fielding, one of the 4 major novelists, has also produced fine farces. He produced The Mock Doctor and The Miser, which were adaptations of Molière. But his plays The Author's Farce and Rape Upon Rape are really noteworthy. In The Author's Farce, Henry Fielding has satirized the writing profession, and Rape Upon Rape is a critique of the practices of law. J. M. Barrie's Walker and London are famous farces. Arthur Wing Pinero's 2 farces made him famous. The Magistrate is Pinero's popular farce which deals with the confusions between Mr. Poskett and his family. The play was performed in 1885. Similarly, Pinero's The Schoolmistress also became famous. The 2 works established Arthur Wing Pinero in the literary arena as a writer. The other farces of Pinero are Dandy Dick and The Cabinet Minister. The Russian writer, Anton Chekhov, composed 3 one-act plays which are farcical in nature. They are Bear, The Proposal, and The Wedding. Like Anton Chekhov, Nikolai Gogol has also produced some plays with farcical elements. The Government Inspector is his finest farce, which presents realistic picture of life in a provincial Russian town in satirical vein. Tom Stoppard's Real Inspector Hound is also a fine farce. Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest is an artistic combination of farce and comedy of manners. Thus, farce may be considered as a coarse form of comedy which has its relationship with burlesque. Just as farce may be considered as a coarse form of comedy, melodrama was a debased form of tragedy. In Greek, the term melodrama means song drama. Melodrama, as the name suggests, used to be full of songs, but now it depends on artificial dramatic language and physical action. The story revolves round crime, revenge, the evils of gambling and drinking. At the end, vice is punished and virtue rewarded. Melodrama was quite popular in the 18th century with the rather uncultured and uneducated lowly type of people. The actions in melodrama are forceful and violent, and dialogues are in rhetorical language. In the past, the melodrama used to be opened with a piece of music, but in late melodrama, music was not an essential part. Thomas Kyd's The Spanish Tragedy and John Webster's The Duchess of Malfi are fine examples of melodrama. During the Victorian period, the melodrama attracted spectators because of scenic devices like railway accidents and other calamities shown on the stage. But with the growth of cinema, the appeal of melodrama decreased. It could no longer attract the attention of spectators. Dion Bosco, the Irish dramatist, produced some fantastic melodramas. His play The Colleen-Bawn is a famous melodrama. Mary Elizabeth Braddon's fiction Lady Audley's Secret also holds melodramatic elements. It deals with the story of a woman who deserts her child and tries to murder her husband and plans to poison her second husband. This sensation novel has melodramatic elements. The character of Lucy Graham is really interesting and fascinating. Matthew Gregory Lewis' The Castle Spectre appeared in 1796, which is a quintessence of melodramatic novel. In his famous work, The Monk, there is a fine blending of the supernatural, terrible and romantic elements which produce great effect. Douglas Jerrold's Black-Eyed Susan is also a fine example of melodrama. It is based on John Gay's ballad. George Bernard Shaw, the renowned playwright, has also produced melodramas like The Devil's Disciple and The Fatal Gazagene. The Fatal Gazagene, a short curtain raiser, is a comic burlesque. Alfred Jarry's melodrama Ubuaroi influenced the surrealist and absurd play writers. It should be noted that Patrick Hamilton, Edgar Wallace, Maxwell Anderson, and Jean-Paul Sartre have also produced fine melodramas. The famous 19th century melodramas are Under the Gaslight and 10 Nights in a Barroom. Thus, melodrama can be considered as the result of the French influence on the English writers and the popularity of Gothic novel in the 18th century. But, it flourished in the 19th century and it was in fashion. Please, subscribe Literature Guide.